Marco Rubio goes on and says that he's going to keep a balance with Donald Trump. He's the one who's going to keep him in check. Marco Rubio isn't qualified to be the man's laundry. Okay?
What differences are there between the two? You guys are fairly conservative, Republican. Are there any glaring differences that you can point out?
Glaring difference, yeah. I've run a business and he's been a career politician. That's pretty glaring.
No, as far as policy issues, like on
policy issues, well, he doesn't support Donald Trump on issues that I support. Closing the border, restricting travel access to this country from the Middle East. He basically doesn't agree with that. So yeah, there's some policy issues that are pretty substantial.
Well, Rubio did go on the record saying that he does support a wall being built. That's one.
Yeah, because he's come around to that. And that's what politicians do when they realize they're losing the advantage. They go, oh, well, maybe I need to change my position. Obviously, he supported the amnesty bill with the Gang of Eight, which was something that he said he'd never do. So.
What about this whole Trump thing? He's come around. Obviously he ran and lost against Donald Trump. You've been a supporter of Donald Trump all along.
Correct.
He all but endorsed him in his speech, the video speech.
All but.
Right. He didn't endorse him, but he did say a couple nice things about.
Yeah, but that's the tepid endorsement of a politician as opposed to someone who makes a decision and gets in a foxhole with somebody for the good of the country, which is what he should have done when he decided to run for the Senate. Even then, he said he was going to be a check and balance to make sure this and that. He doesn't have the capabilities of keeping Donald Trump in the check and balance position. His only job should be to block and tackle for Donald Trump and move his agenda. But yet he's purporting himself to be an independent thinker. The truth is, he's not independent at all. He is beholden to the establishment that controls Washington. He's going to be another puppet. That's okay. I don't think the people will give it to him.
Well, in May, obviously, before he decided to run for re-election, Donald Trump, who you've supported all along, he thought Rubio would be the best one to hold that seat. Obviously, he wasn't expecting what happened.
No,
what are your thoughts about
I don't
that?
think so. I think that Donald Trump is a pragmatic guy who understands that control of the Senate's important. And back then, there were some polls that said that he was the most likely to be able to beat the Democrat candidate. We know that there's polls that show I'm with 1.5% behind Patrick Murphy, which is in polling is a statistical tie. But the establishment wants to promote Marco Rubio is the only guy that can beat the Democrat. That's just not true, but that's okay. Can you imagine a politician lying?
Well, staying on that, as someone who really didn't support Donald Trump the other night in the RC was Ted Cruz. Do you think what he did was wrong?
Absolutely. It was bad manners. You don't go if somebody asks you to go to dinner, you can say no politely, no, thank you, and you don't go to dinner. But if somebody asks you to go to dinner and you show up at their house and then you slap them in the face, that's just bad manners.
Another thing they're being attacked on is your recent trip to Cuba, or a couple years back you went to Cuba.
That's all right. They can attack me about nonsense.
Well, my question to you is, obviously, you went there on a business trip, correct?
No, absolutely not. I went there because a friend of mine called me out of the blue. I was actually on a safari in Africa when Steve Burton called me up and running. And he says, Carlos, send me a check and a copy of your passport. We're going to Cuba together. He was the chairman of the Tampa International Airport Authority at the time,
right? And
a friend. And I said, sure. I mean, who else is going? And some other people. I said, yeah. I didn't know what the purpose was. I just thought it was Steve Burton. And it turned out to be the inaugural flight from Tampa to Havana. So I went because I could. It was a spur
Did you
of the
meet
moment
anyone
thing.
besides the greeting committee of the Cuban government?
Yeah. There was a greeting committee. I met Al Fox. Then I found out I met him at the airport. I didn't know Al Fox before that. And like I said, I went. It was entertaining. It was interesting. I came back.
No government officials that kind of said, "Hey, could you help us?"
No, they were trying to promote tourism.
Right.
That's what they were trying to promote. Obviously, if I liked it so much, I could have gone back many, many times. I went and didn't go back.